G'day everyone. The Out of Sight encounter in Gate of Infinity has about 4 attacks to be aware of, one of which can one-shot you if you're not ready for it. The first is the boss's standard Fury attack indicated by the purple icon. This is an AoE pulse that'll stun you if you don't use your defensive ability against it in time. The boss can do up to 2 or 3 of these in a row with a small break between each, so if you have any charged abilities like the Death Blow for example I'm using on the Greatsword, you want to use these straight after one of those purple attacks for the best chance that you won't be interrupted by another one. Now when the boss gets this lightning effect around him that you can see here, he's about to spawn a bunch of puddles on the ground at your feet, and you simply need to keep moving out of them. Now these puddles aren't going to one-shot you, you probably can afford to take 1 or 2 ticks, but if you linger on them, they are going to do a lot of damage very quickly, so you need to get off them and stay off them. Here's a clip from later in this kill where I thought I could go back into them, and as you can see, they really mess me up very quickly. Now the boss's third attack happens when you see this reddish orangey glow drawing into the boss from the outside of the room, and the boss jumps up into the air for a little bit. He's about to do 3 consecutive ground slams that you need to jump on each to avoid damage. The first slam only deals damage, but the second and third will both stun you if it hits you. And finally, his 4th and most lethal ability is this here where he fills the whole room with red except for one free segment like a pizza slice. You don't have a lot of time, you need to very quickly identify this safe zone and get there as soon as you can. Use a movement skill if you have it, or you need to commit some stamina to dodge roll there. Take note that the boss always follows this with a purple Fury attack. So that's the whole fight. He only has those 4 abilities, but he does use them in quite rapid succession, and if you get caught out without moving, that last pizza slice attack can definitely one-shot you. The boss doesn't seem to use any strict patterns, at least nothing that I could identify. Those 3 more basic attacks, not the pizza slice one, those 3 he generally chops and changes between in fairly random order. The boss will also often overlap the end of the puddles with the start of the 3 jumping slams, so they kind of overlap a little bit, which is annoying. When this happens, you still need to prioritize jumping those slams, even if you take a few ticks of damage from the puddles, because if you don't and you get stunned in the puddle, then you're really in trouble. Now I'm using the Greatsword's movement ability, Precision Dash, which is fantastic for this pizza slice ability. I can just point in action mode at least, I can just point at the gap and press it and it'll zip me there really quickly, and then I can press it again and zip straight back to the boss and keep doing damage. Really handy if you are using the Greatsword. If you're not, I really recommend looking around in your skills and finding maybe a movement ability that could help you get to this gap, because it is a one-shot ability. You can't afford to be getting hit by this. Now if you just don't have any movement skills in your build, that's okay, you still can just run there and dodge, but definitely commit some stamina to use a dodge roll. Don't just waddle over, because you're not going to make it and you need to avoid this. Now I did just quickly test with a longbow if anything behaves differently mechanics wise if you're standing at range. It doesn't appear to, it all seems pretty much the same. The Fury attack can still just be dodged as normal with your defensive ability. The jumps and the puddles come out pretty much the same as normal, and the eye just shoots you at range instead of at melee. As you can see here, the puddles will spawn on your location, so not under the boss, and the jumps are just the same, you still need to jump them. One thing to note is that if you are standing in range and you don't have a massive movement ability, you just need to be aware and probably be ready for this big pizza slice to come out, because when it does, you're going to have a long distance to move, and you're not going to be able to get there in time. You might be better off just playing in melee range of the boss, even though you're ranged. So that's pretty much it for this boss. Like many of the other Gate of Infinity bosses, it doesn't have too many mechanics. It's fairly simple mechanically, but its abilities do come out quite quickly, and between the stuns and the amount of damage they do, it can be very punishing if you're not dodging effectively. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments, or like and subscribe for more content like this. I'll keep this running till the end of the fight, where I open up my character and skills pages just to show you what I'm using if you're curious. Thanks for listening everyone. Cheers.